So we will now start with the proceedings for the day. Amongst us today, we have Dr. G. Balasubramaniam, who is our keynote speaker. In line with the theme of Teachathon 2021, NEP from concept to implementation, Sir will be addressing us on holistic development towards education. Dr. G. Balasubramaniam obtained his post-graduation in analytical and inorganic chemistry from Madras University, a post-graduation in Hindi and post-graduation in education too. He obtained a diploma in German from the University of Madras, a certificate in project technology from Trent College of Education, Nottingham, and a certificate in computer education from Leeds University. He is a certified master trainer for skills development from Glasgow. Starting his career as a postgraduate teacher in chemistry in a public school, he took over as a principal in Chennai. He joined the CBSE board as a joint secretary in 1984 and has worked in several capacities in academics, examination, confidential, and administration branches. He was elevated to the post of director, and he held the additional charge of the Chief Vigilance Officer of the board. He retired from the services of the board in the year 2006. Presently, he has his own consultancy services under the banner Educational Systems and Innovations. He has also been the chairman of the Curriculum Reforms Committee and Examination Reforms Committee in the government of Tamil Nadu. Known for his innovation in curriculum development and interactive pedagogy, he has been instrumental to the introduction of several innovations in the curriculum in CBSE, which include frontline curriculum, communicative approach to language teaching, information technology, biotechnology, entrepreneurship, fashion studies, disaster management, life skill education, alternatives to homework, among others. He is a strong advocate of stress-free education and has initiated several steps in this direction. He has conducted nearly 2,000 training programs for teachers as of both in India and abroad after his retirement, covering around 50,000 teachers. His interests include philosophy, psychology, poetry, and literature. He has widely traveled in many countries, participated in several national and international conferences, and presented papers on wide variety of academic interests. We welcome you, sir. Over to you.
Thank you. Well, it is indeed a great pleasure to be on this platform with so many educators who are the key drivers of education in this country today. Well, when I was given this invitation and I started little introspecting, I had some goosebumps because I recalled a discussion I had with one of my own good friends sometime 40 years back. I had a great friend, Dr. M.P. Chaya, right, who recently passed away. He was the principal of the Bharati Vidyabhavan School and subsequently one of the mentors for the national, the Navodaya Vidyalayas. And we were discussing, and I raised a question at that point of time. We have Indian Institutes of Management. Why we don't have an Indian Institute of Education Management, right? And that was a question sometime about 40 years before we were discussing. And for one reason or the other, I could not see that kind of a name coming through. Today, when I see that there's a platform of Indian Institute of Education Management, I think I feel like Martin Luther King, who said, I had a dream. And when you get the dream realized over there, and that's the kind of the spirit that I have. Well, the second is that, the topic, that you have taken is amazing, because the very, terminology, Teachathon is very inspiring. Do I have an opportunity for sharing the PPT? I think I've been blocked. Can you open that host disabled screen sharing. I have a PPT.
ಡೇಟ್ ಅನ್ನೇ ಆಗ್ಲಿ ಅವ್ರು ಹೇಳ ನಂತರ ಯಾರು ಇರ್ತಾರಲ್ಲ ಹಿಂಗ ಇದೆ ನೋಡಂತ ತೋರಿಸಿ ವಿವೇಕ್ ದೊಡ್ಡದು ಬೇಕಾತ್ ನೋಡಂತದ್ದು.
Can you open up my?
Yes, we are doing it, sir. You will get that.
Yeah. So the very terminology teach-a-thon, it takes you to the takes you to marathon.
ನಮಗೊಂದು
Sir, Bashwalingam sir, could you mute yourself?
It takes you to the spirit of the marathon in Olympics, right? I go back like that single soldier who ran all the way to Athens to say that we have won, right? The spirit of marathon is to reveal a kind of a success. Nevertheless, when it comes to Olympics, marathon is not a competitive racing. It's something where you let people, everybody participate. It's a mass participation, situation. It's a mass participation. So to say that all teachers will participate in teach-a-thon without a bias is something which needs to be celebrated. I think that's where we find celebrating a teacher acquires the importance through this marathon. Now, three important things that relate to marathon is that one, you need preparedness. A person who wants to participate in marathon has to be prepared. Three skills that you need. One, you need to be prepared. Now, the second is that you need to be passionate and proficient in what you do. The third is that you must have the skills to do. So today, whether it is a marathon or a teach-a-thon, these three things really relate to each other. A teacher needs to be prepared. A teacher needs to have proficiency. A teacher needs to have passion. And a teacher needs to have the skill. And these are the four, important things that you need in the teaching community today. As my friends were pointing out that at this point of time, that whether we really have education happening around, I think that's something which, you have enough opportunities to discuss, right? So I'm going to my presentation, right? So, when you talk of celebrating the teacher, and then you come across the three important things, preparation, dedication goes with passion. Now, in a marathon race, who is a winner? Everybody is a winner. Everybody is a winner. It's not, who takes a longer time or shorter time, but the fact is the very participation is a winning gesture. Right? And to me, one who has come to a teaching profession is like running a marathon, and there is no one is a winner, no one is a loser in teaching, because you are doing something with dedication, you are doing something with passion. So a teacher is always in the process of discovering himself, discovering herself, and discovering the process of education. And therefore, I think the appropriacy of the term, teach-a-thon has got to be really commended on this particular occasion. Now, when there are people who say, sir, well, I don't have the capacity to participate, but remember, again, I go back to Martin Luther King, who said, if you cannot fly, then run. If you cannot run, then walk. If you cannot walk, then crawl. But then whatever you do, you have to keep going. You have to keep moving. And that's what my teacher should do, because whenever I meet the teachers, there is always a complaint. Sir, we don't have the resources. Sir, we don't have the technology. We don't have this, that. But a teacher never gets defeated. The question always says is that nobody can defeat you unless you are willing to get defeated. And to me, a teacher should never feel or never to get defeated. Therefore, a teacher always provides a leadership. And I think self-leadership is all that about a teacher, an educator, a principal should have. And only people who have got a self-leadership will be able to develop children of the future as leaders of tomorrow. right? At this context only, where teachers needs to be a part of the educational marathon, what they said, that preparing for the classroom is very important. And I think with the National Education Policy 2020 coming through, a lot of changes are happening around. And I remember that the teachers of yesteryears cannot continue to have the same spirit. I remember when I was a teacher, probably it took 10 years for the NCERT to change a book or the curriculum to change. When I became a principal, I found it was 7 years that was the change was happening. When I became a joint secretary, I found it took 5 years for the syllabus to change. When I became a director, I found that it was 2 years when the challenge, curriculum was changing. But today, you do not know at how many weeks the curriculum will change, because the speed of knowledge, the irrelevance of knowledge is challenging you more rather than the relevance of knowledge. Therefore, the children of today are getting educated day in and day out. Therefore, the teachers are going to be prepared absolutely and have to be on the feet. So what you prepared for the last year, what you prepared for 2 years before is not going to be relevant. As a matter of fact, what you prepared for the last month is going to be irrelevant. You're going to discover yourself every day. The second is that passion for the job is absolutely something which is very critical, right? Because, you will be driven to have passion by your children, because when the children are passionate about their learning, you will be left with no option but to be passionate about what you do. The third is the pedagogical skills which are required. With the kind of technologies that is coming through, with the kind of interventions for knowledge and skills coming through, I really find that you cannot have a staple pedagogy, a continuous pedagogy coming through for the years over there. So a teacher needs to invent himself or herself with the pedagogical skills. As Howard Gardner once pointed out, a good teacher needs to have pedagogical intelligence. Apart from all kinds of intelligences, that a good teacher needs to have pedagogical intelligence. It is not only what kind of resources that you have, but how you are able to contextualize the resources to the need. So friends, today we are in a world where the next couple of years the education is going to be celebrating innovation. If you very closely look into the National Education Policy, it very clearly says that what is going to be relevant for the future is not repetition of knowledge. It is only going to be construction of knowledge. It is going to be new knowledge which is imparted. So when you say new knowledge, it is not in the 11th class or 12th class, but you like children of KG to come with a new knowledge. So it is not reproduction of knowledge, but it is to innovate, to be creative, and to have new expressions and new meanings which will make knowledge always fresh. And therefore, I see that at least my teachers of the present day for the next decade are going to find some very challenging times in their classrooms, where children are going to come with questions because of integrated thinking, interdisciplinary thinking, and multidisciplinary thinking. And that's where the technology plays a synergetic role, a synthesizing role, facilitating both the teachers and learners to be partners in learning. So friends, when you talk about the National Education Policy 2020, right, it is the first time, because I have been very closely watching the policies right from 1968 Kothari Commission report when I was a teacher. Right from that 1986, the first National Education Policy, subsequently the National Curriculum Framework of 2005, and then now the New Education Policy 2020. This is the first time that you look into a policy which is absolutely looking not only at the current status, but also the futuristics of the country, right? So this policy has taken cognizance of the need for a change, a paradigm change. While the earlier policies were celebrating largely knowledge, this policy is focusing more on what is called skills and competencies development. And I think that's exactly is going to be the crux of the pedagogical innovations in the classroom over here. So friends, it is time for us to be ready. It is time for us to be, to break the barriers. I think breaking the barriers means that you must get not only to out-of-box thinking, but also you must get into some kind of new approaches to thinking. right? So every teacher will not continue to remain a physics teacher or a chemistry teacher or a mathematics teacher. You will be qualified more to be a teacher rather than celebrating the disciplines that you have. You have to go beyond the kind of the disciplines that you are going. You are engaged with. 12 major paradigm shifts. What I'm thinking is going to impact the national education policy, which the teachers need to understand. That NEP for the first time supports learnability. I think that's a very interesting thing. If you look into all the earlier policies, the policy supported the teaching, policy supported learning, policies supported the learner, but this is the policy where if you go deep into that analyze, you find the learnability of the learner is being appreciated, and therefore that's a platform stage where you break the barriers of learning, anytime, anywhere learning, open-ended learning, synergizing the formal learning with informal learning are all going to be matters of concern. So the learnability is going to be celebrated. Therefore, the way you run the school, the way you organize your curriculum, the way you open up your pedagogy are going to be entirely different for the days to come. Get ready for that. The second point factor is going to be the policy very clearly focuses on self-learning, right? The future doesn't promise the teacher to be an intervention.
Hi everyone, sir got disconnected. He'll be back in another few seconds. Thank you.
Meanwhile, Vasanthi ma'am, if you can tell us, instance wherein sir inspired you, because you've been talking, sir, you have been saying so much about him, and we have been so much inspired that with the Shishya and Guru stories that you've been telling. There is, if you can describe one instance wherein that made so much of difference and you can't forget that good memories.
Definitely, yes. It's my pleasure always to talk about sir until he comes in, of course. Basically, I think my learning journey began the moment sir entered my school campus as my affiliation inspector for in the year 1994. Date is not forgotten because that's the day he came and saw my school, and it was very simple setup. And he said, what matters is not the size of the campus or the sophistication of teachers. What matters is the heart. And somewhere in all of us, I think he saw that seed that we can develop. And I think that's the time he decided that I was one person who was worthy of his support, I suppose. So right after I got the affiliation order, I went to Chennai where he was regional officer. And I told him that we've got our orders. And he said, that's not enough simply getting our affiliation order. Where does it take you? So you have to come out of Hosur. Hosur is a very small town. I'm glad you're located in a school there. But come right out and I will make sure that you get the best of exposure. And then began this journey of visiting Chennai very frequently. Any program he had, any orientation that was happening, I was there. That's why I call him my mentor. He ensured that I was there. And then when sir moved on to Delhi as a director, I was the chairperson of the Bangalore Sahodaya at that point, 2003. That's when Mr. Ashok Ganguly decided we'll have the conference, and Bangalore Sahodaya was given the opportunity. Now, as chairman, sir has come in?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, can you allow me for sharing again?
Yes, sir. I was just talking about you.
I'll do that, sir. I'll do that.
Yeah.
Just talking about you, sharing how you made me grow till you came in.
Thank you, Vasanthi. It's so nice of you. And, always technology is a challenge. Every time, right? And
meanwhile, Vasanthi ma'am, thank you so much for sharing that.
Yes.
Well, it's my pleasure to narrate this over and over again, nothing like it. Bala sir, maybe we can do one thing. If you can keep your PPT open on one window, sir, and keep reading off that PPT and we listen to your explanation.
Yeah.
You're still visible to us on the second window, sir. It's okay.
Yeah, no problem.
You can do that, sir.
So, as I was talking to you, friends, that the second is the focus is going to be on self-learning of the learners over here, because if you look into the ECCE part of itself, right from the young age, the self-help skills and self-learning skills are being, contemplated by the national education policy. And therefore, I think the way we teachers work on that should be to facilitate learning, mentor learning, and so synergize a formal and informal learning so that the learning domain, learning universe is completely opened up over there. The third thing good about the national education policy is that several of the iron curtains in learning have all been removed. For example, your co-scholastic and scholastic, academic and vocational, all kinds of barriers between all kinds of learning has been removed, and therefore the teacher will have an ability to move into different aspects of the classroom. The way a teacher who just follows the textual material and runs a course of a journey on a train track is absolutely not going to be good enough for the future. A teacher should become a pilot and let the children fly, imaginatively with the curriculum, with the textual material. Just 3 days back, when I had an opportunity to visit a school and I entered a classroom, I found the teacher was teaching about the Newton's law, first law, second law, and third law. I said Newton's laws are not necessarily physics laws, but they are laws of nature. They are laws of life. And then you take the children beyond the descriptions of what is printed in the textbook. I think that the joy of learning, the joy of expanding the universe is going to be very important in the future to come. The board also, the policy talks about experiential education and bagless classrooms, which I think are again going to be a great boon to the teacher, an innovative teacher and experimental teacher to break the barriers. There is a misconception among people that experiential education is nothing but experimental learning in a laboratory or something, which is absolutely wrong. Experiences could be cognitive experiences, affective experiences, emotional experiences, psychological experiences you can put across. So integrating experiences of different kinds have to be done, but this cannot happen when the child carries a bags into the classroom over there. So you need bagless days over there. I think a lot of one of the other days when I talked to the Bangalore Sahodaya on bagless classroom, I told them that most of our people who learned in India earlier were great learners, but they had bagless learning. We have unfortunately brought all learning into the ambits of a printed textual material, and therefore curbed the real joy of learning. And therefore it's time that we take the children beyond the textual material. So these are other important challenges teachers are going to get over there. The next is going to be pedagogy will become more significant rather than the product of pedagogy. Increasingly, the results of an examination are getting totally diffused over here, irrelevant over there. So the way my teacher teaches over there, blended learning, flipped learning, all other types of learning is going to matter, so that how my teacher is going to facilitate children to experiment with knowledge, to research knowledge, all these things are going to be important. Therefore, the national education policy is opening up huge opportunities for research amongst the teachers, activity-based classrooms. I think that's another very important aspect. Art appreciation, social consciousness will impact the learning process. Therefore, my teachers, whether you are teaching English, whether you are teaching geography, or whether you're teaching economics, it doesn't matter. That how do you let the left brain and the right brain synergize effectively in order that a holistic thinking could take place over there. Because holistic thinking is very important for social consciousness to develop. In the absence of a single domain approach to the brain, you will find that you are a part personality and not a whole personality. And therefore, my school education should facilitate on opening up the art appreciation. Art appreciation doesn't mean you add one more subject to painting or graphics in the class, but it is a way you develop a sense of aesthetics to whatever you look at, whatever you practice in life. I think that kind of spirit has to go through. The next point is going to be the point talks about the policy talks about research-based learning and extended learning. I think that's the crux of the problem. Today, we have gone into what is called a mode of certification, and certification calls for imprisonment of knowledge and not liberation of knowledge. And therefore, a researching mind, a curious mind, an investigative mind is available for right from the primary stage. As a matter of fact, the brain researchers, cognitive researchers very clearly indicate that brain is 3 times more active when they are in 6th to 8th class, that age group, 3 to 12th age group over there, as an adults over there. And that's a time when seeds of research are being planted in the minds of the children, and which works for the future, right? Therefore, I think you have to open the classrooms for that. And then hybrid and blended learning models will facilitate anytime, anywhere learning. Tomorrow, you will find before the teacher comes to the class with a piece of information, the child is going to say, ma'am, I know this, I have seen that here, I have seen that there. But probably she will educate you much better rather than what you are going to tell them. And therefore, your classrooms will be more interactive, more, explosive and experiential. So my teachers need to get used to forget their textbooks in their staff room rather than bring them to the classroom. I think anytime, anywhere learning is the call of the future. The ninth is going to be assessments will be customized and will support growth rather than judgment. I think Vasanthi would have done a lot of work on assessment, and with the National Education Policy today talks about self-assessment over that. I think that's going to be very, very critical. I'm not going to be bothered what the board tells about me or what my school tells about me. I'm sure that I know what I know. And that sense of confidence, self-awareness, and self-esteem will be supported by the assessment models. I do foresee that in the next 10 years, the complete modalities of assessment is going to change, and therefore the child will be able to take any examination at any point of time, immaterial of the year or that. I think that is going to be the future, and I think your teachathon should discuss on some of the challenges that are going to come out of that. And in this process, you will find both the teachers as well as the learners will be the students will be co-learners and continuous learners. And there is the bar for the age bar for learning has been totally dismantled. Today, neurocognitive scientists say that even at the 80, if you are capable of learning a little bit, you can learn German. And 90, if you can move your hand, you can you learn violin at this point of time, 90. And therefore, learning one way or the other. The whole problem about learning is that we have stratified the learning, made it one-way path. We want our learners to learn what we know rather than what they intend to know. I think this philosophy has got to break over that. Focus on construction of knowledge rather than reproduction of knowledge is going to be that. Construction of knowledge doesn't really mean that the child is going to be coming with a new paper or something over that, but his ability to look at knowledge from different perspectives. I think that is a very important thing. We have over the years created a myth about knowledge, that the knowledge has to be looked only with one single perspective. Multiple perspectives of knowledge open up multiple levels of learning, and therefore I think you have to celebrate the child for how he approaches knowledge rather than what how he's going to reproduce knowledge. I think that's going to be focus of the level. The last but not the least is going to be skills, proficiencies, and competencies may seek newer meanings. Today we talk about competency-based education. The board as well as the NEP talks about that. Unfortunately, we have dealt with only competencies at very low level. We have never understood that competencies can go to higher level. The ability of a child to produce a particular theorem in a mathematics paper, we say is a competency, which unfortunately is not. Now, you need to understand that there is a dynamics in the flow of competency. We start with the curricular objectives. From the curricular objectives, we filter out to learning objectives. Learning objectives define knowledge. From the knowledge, we move to skills. Skills have their various levels of skills, and these levels of skills lead to proficiencies, and proficiencies lead to mastery, and mastery gives you the competency. I think that's a dynamics my teachers need to understand. Therefore, whenever you take a single concept, immaterial of the subject, you must move from the learning objective, the curricular objective to the entire dynamics. And that's what the process is going to define how good a school is going to be. And I think that is the call of the day. So to conclude, because I know you have a lot to do, the only thing, who will be the teacher of tomorrow? I'm going to leave it open to you. I'm not going to say that this is those who want to ensure their knowledge and certificates, or those who want to invest knowledge and rediscover themselves, are those who see every dawn as an opportunity for innovating with their knowledge and skills. I don't know to what category we will belong. You have to make the choice. Every teacher has to make the choice. And to be that learning is the dynamics of life. The day you stop learning, that dynamic stops when you become static. And when life becomes static, you know what it all means to that. Thank you very, very passionate listening. I wish the program a great success, and I'm sure the Teachathon will celebrate the perceptions of the teaching, and celebrate all forms and methods of teaching with technology as one aspect of the whole dynamics of learning. Thank you for a very patient listening.
Thank you, sir. That was indeed very insightful. Sir, we also request you to visit the contestants in the various rooms and see the program proceedings.
Sure.
Back in our team will help you to visit the rooms, sir.
Certainly. Thank you.
I now request Priya, team member from IIM, to give the vote of thanks.
Thank you so much, Janani. Good morning, all of you. It's an honor to have been asked to offer a vote of thanks on this occasion. Hearty gratitude to all who have graced the inauguration, and I take this occurrence to thank the entire committee as well as the audience for taking out their valuable time. I also thank our supporters, Tutorroot, AI School of India, and Q Shala for being there and supporting us. I extend my thanks to President of Hyderabad Sahodaya Sports Complex, Dr. Narasimha Reddy, and President of Bangalore Sahodaya Sports Complex, Ms. Vamshi Priyamar. I express my special thanks to Ms. Manila Carvalho, Dr. Sharada Chandrasekhar, Dr. Vasanthi Tyagarajan for their continuous guidance, and our advisors, Mr. Ramaganesh, Mr. Suresh Ramamurthy, Mr. Rangarajan. Not least, I thank all the jury members, the participants and their families, and the IIM team. Thank you.
Thank you, Priya. We now have our supporters, Tutorroot, with us. Tutorroot provides online live interactive classes and one-on-one personalized sessions for students of class 8th to 12th preparing for IIT, JEE, NEET, IGCSE across India and the world. So Tutorroot also works with junior colleges and schools, providing specialized content for JEE test preparation. Over to you, team.
I'm Krishna from Tutorroot Technologies. Good morning, Dr. Balasubramaniam, Chairperson Dr. Vasanthi, Vice Chairperson Dr. Sarada, the team at IIEM, all the distinguished teachers. So it's a privilege to be in the midst of great teachers, right? So growing up, I always thought it's students who compete in exams, right? And I realized today that, it's teachers also who compete among themselves to provide, better solutions to students, right? And it's a great learning for me, right? And I think we are learning constantly, and this has been a great thing for me, right? So, and over the last 30 years, only in few situations I've seen huge congregation or teachers coming together and from multiple schools. Probably, my mother was a government school teacher. So one was, the science fairs which happen. And then the other one, which most people hate, is the elections. You get a lot of teachers come together, right? So, but this is probably much larger than any of those, right? So I see 113 odd participants or, teachers out here. And this is the largest aggregation of teachers I've seen till date, right? So we'll just play a video about Tutorroot.
Excuse me, ma'am. Sorry for interrupting. I cannot enter the breakout room. Hello.
There is no breakout room here. I'm so sorry. There is no breakout room here. For the contest, you have to go log into a different link.
May I know the link? I have. I got the mail. So
message me. I'm sending you my number. Please message me.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
So online is the new normal. Sorry, I'll just take a minute, madam. Yeah.
Excuse me, ma'am. See, ma'am, I have already sent you the message.
Yeah, yes, wait.
Krishna sir, you can continue.
Yeah. So Mr. Bala spoke about two things, which I would like to highlight. One is about experiential education. The other is hybrid and blended learning models, right? With the pandemic, so this online live coaching for students has been in existence for many years, but just that the pandemic further accelerated the process of adoption, right? And we are tutored at the right place at the right time. So today we have students from Pan India who are part of our live interactive classes, right? So most of the classes happen in the evening, so that there is no clash between what happens the school timings and their classes online, right? Yeah. So we work with schools and junior colleges as of now across AP Telangana, providing specialized content for JEE test preparation. This becomes as a value add for the schools, which they can provide to the students. Right. So unlike other edtech players which sell content alone, we provide live interactive classes. So which also means we can get access to some of the faculty which can help in preparation for these competitive exams. Right. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.